Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about PlayStation 4 emulation with ShadPS4 Plus. Now for those who may not be aware, ShadPS4 Plus is a fork of the ShadPS4 emulator that restores PKG support. Now we talked about this emulator in yesterday's video, and it turns out I had a pretty hot take and I was wrong. Now I don't know about you, but I'm not perfect. I do make mistakes, and I am willing to listen when someone or multiple people are telling me I'm wrong or having a hot take or just way off base. And I had a lot of reflection, I read a lot of comments, heard a lot of viewpoints and opinions on the matter, and it turns out, yeah, I was wrong. And what I said was against the spirit of open source. So this fork of ShadPS4, ShadPS4 Plus, simply exists because the developers don't include .pkg support, and this version does. And the same thing, well, in a similar line with AzaharPlus here versus Azahar in terms of ROM compatibility. And since these projects are on GitHub and open source here, I don't see any issues with people forking them. I think that is a completely normal and fair thing. It's part of open source. However, and the big however here, and this is not me doubling down on anything, this is me pointing something out. All of these projects require the parent project in order to exist in the first place. If you want to see a performance improvement, for example, in ShadPS4 Plus, ShadPS4 needs to have that performance improvement. And if people are telling the main developers to go kick rocks because they're not happy with something, and the main developers decide to just stop working on it because they work on it for free in their spare time, this could go away. So with that being said, a fork like this one is kind of the right approach. I mean, if you think about it, if you're not happy with the developers, just fork the project and make your own version of it, considering it's open source. And that is exactly what has happened here. So overall here, I would argue by nature, it's probably a good thing that something like this exists. It's the less confrontational approach. Okay, you're not going to do it, we will. And there it is. And I think that is the right way to go about it as compared to, I don't know, harassing the developers, which I don't think anyone should do. And at the end of the day here, .pkg is just a file type. I really don't think that would have any bearing on whether or not an emulator would be considered legal or illegal. I really don't think so. Could be wrong. Maybe that's the hot take. But moving on from that, and next up here, we're still talking about emulation, this time about Atari 2600 emulation with Gopher 2600. And Gopher 2600 just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, version 0.53.0 is the latest and greatest update. In this update, there's a whole bunch of new stuff and a bunch of bug fixes here, like left and right options reapplied on cartridge reload. And this one as well, and I think some people using this emulator may appreciate this fix. Reloading the cartridge too often could cause the emulator to hang. And continuing to talk about updates and emulation, next up here we're talking about MAME, where MAME stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or Multiple Arcade Machine Emulation, depending on how you wanted to interpret that. Anyways, Ample here, which is a front end for MAME as an Apple II emulator, just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, Ample version 0.283 is the latest and greatest update. And this is based on MAME version 0.283, so Ample is now in line with the mainline version of MAME. And continuing to talk about emulation and programs to make things easier, next up we're talking about Xbox 360 emulation with Xenia Manager. Now, for those who may not be aware, Xenia Manager is a user-friendly tool designed to simplify the use of the Xenia emulator. It streamlines game management, patch installation, and configuration, all through an intuitive interface. And Xenia Manager just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, version 3.3.0 is the latest and greatest update. In this update, there's a bunch of bug fixes, UI improvements, localization and translations, and even more. They've added support for configuring the XMA audio decoder directly in settings. And also, it now shows the game path in UI. They say the full game directory path is now visible in the interface for easier game identification. And speaking about making things easier, next up we're talking about Felix86. For those who may be unaware, Felix86, they say you can run x86 and x86 64 games on RISC-V. And Felix86 just got a brand new update to 25.12. So they say here, this month they got a lot of work done, performance improvements, quality of life changes, and a bunch of testing. And they now have trusted directories. As for performance, they say here, we ran Geekbench 6 with Felix86 25.11 last month and Felix86 25.12 this month's release. This month's version is around 6% faster, with some benchmarks being up to 20% faster. Now, I don't know about you, but I would say that's a pretty huge improvement for Felix86 if you are interested and wanted to learn more about it. Like everything we talk about, links are within the GitHub link in the bottom of the description below. I don't hide my sources. And speaking about learning more about stuff and checking stuff out, next up here we're talking about a really interesting interview up on Gardner Bryant. This one is by Dash, who's got a ton of interesting interviews I would recommend checking out. It's titled Behind Decky Loader, an interview with the team that makes customization possible. Now, for those who may be unaware, Decky Loader is a free and open source tool for the Steam Deck. And they say here it's a homebrew plugin launcher for the Steam Deck. It can be used to stylize your menus, change system sounds, adjust your screen saturation, change additional system settings, and more. And it's really cool to see behind the scenes. If you are interested in Decky Loader and wanted to learn more about it and kind of the philosophy behind it and a lot of Q&A, I would recommend checking out this article. If you're not interested in the Steam Deck and Decky Loader, I'd still recommend checking out the article. It is very well detailed, very well written, and very enjoyable to read. And speaking about reading about stuff and Steam stuff, next up we're talking about Hytale. And there's a very interesting Q&A right on their website talking about Steam and not releasing to Steam right away in January. So here's the Q&A that's getting a lot of attention. Will Hytale be on Steam? And they answer, no, not initially. We want to spend our time in early access working with the community and improving the game, rather than over-indexing on negative reviews from players that aren't as well informed yet about what we are doing. And they go on to say, Steam is a great marketing tool, but one we might never need. This doesn't mean we will never be on Steam, just that we do not see the necessity of it yet. Now, as a result of that Q&A, there are some very interesting headlines circling around the internet, like this one here up on Insider Gaming. Hytale skipping Steam initially to avoid negative reviews. Console launch planned. Now, I have seen a lot of really interesting discussion and a lot of hot debates surrounding what Hytale is doing here and whether or not they're doing the right thing. Personally, I think missing Steam is a missed opportunity. Will the game get negative reviews? Probably, if it's in a complete messy state. But at the same time, if they market it correctly, put it in early access and just advertise it right up front, heck, have even a frickin' pop-up when you open the game. That might help out some. I don't know here. And I don't know why they'd be scared of negative reviews of this thing at all. I mean, I think on Steam it would be the right way to go about it. Could be wrong though. Let me know your thoughts about this decision in the comments below. Do you think avoiding Steam is the right thing to do, given that they're doing things a little bit different here and have revived this game basically from death? And speaking about interesting headlines, next up we're talking about the best-selling gaming hardware in the US for the week ending November 22nd. And I'm willing to bet that, I'm not even a betting person, but I'd be willing to bet you won't guess what just beat the PlayStation 5. So scrolling down here to the top 3, in first place here, no surprise, Nintendo Switch 2 Mario Kart World Bundle. In third place, PS5 Slim Digital 1TB. In second place, the NEX or NEX Playground Interactive Gaming System. I wish I was joking. So let me know in the comments below if you've heard of the NEX Playground before. It does seem like a console geared towards the younger generation. Now, I want to point out I'm not knocking this at all. It seems to me like a modern day Kinect, and that's the part that I'm really surprised about, how all of a sudden something like this is super popular with families and maybe younger children. Maybe older children, who knows? Taking a look at the game library, though, I would argue it's geared towards younger children. The NEX Playground is available on Amazon here. It's got a 4.7 star rating with over 2,000 reviews, and it's priced at basically $250 or $249.99 if you wanted to be specific. And if you include the Play Pass here, it jumps up the price to $288. Now, if you want to see this one in action, Kevin Liu has a video here, a very detailed video showcasing everything there is to know about this console. It's a very interesting concept overall, and I honestly can see why it's popular. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. I am very surprised to see this console beat out the PlayStation 5 in sales for a specific week. It's just, wow. I did not expect that. And speaking about not expecting stuff, next up here we're talking about Micron and AI. As soon as I say it, maybe you did expect it. And Crucial. And if you're a fan of Crucial products like Crucial RAM, you're not going to like this announcement. This is right on Micron's website. They've announced an exit from the Crucial consumer business. So they say here they've decided to exit the Crucial consumer business, not crucial as in critical, but crucial as in the brand name. including the sale of crucial consumer-branded products at key retailers, e-tailers, and distributors worldwide. Micron will continue crucial consumer product shipments through the consumer channel until the end of fiscal Q2, February 2026. Now, as for the reason they're leaving the consumer business, I kind of just alluded to it. They say here the AI-driven growth in the data center has led to a surge in demand for memory and storage. Micron has made the difficult decision to exit the crucial consumer business in order to improve supply and support for our larger strategic customers in faster growing segments. So basically the way I'm chalking this up is they're ditching everything and going all in on AI, and that is super unfortunate. Now, I don't know about you, but I am very familiar with Crucial. I mean, I've got a lot of Crucial RAM in a lot of mini PCs that I have. And I would argue here this is super unfortunate and also a step in the wrong direction. I mean, this is a big gamble that may not pay off. It may be a short-term gain for long-term pain if that AI bubble bursts, if it bursts. Now, it's worth noting it's not just RAM Crucial is exiting from. It's, from my understanding, everything here, like their SSDs and all of that stuff. This is a big blow, I think, to the gaming industry overall based on some of the stuff that Crucial made, but maybe you don't think the same way. If you don't, let me know in the comments below. My experience with Crucial stuff has always been pretty good. I'm not going to lie here. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on the matter, but I absolutely hate seeing stuff like this. And speaking about hating seeing stuff and AI, next up here, we're talking about Sega. And listen to this headline up on VGC, which I would recommend checking out the article for more information. Sega says it will use AI in game development, but only in appropriate use cases. The company is aware that AI can face strong resistance in creative areas. The article itself is a very interesting read, and although a lot of this is machine translated based on an interview from Sega, it does appear that Sega, at least to me, is talking out of both sides of their mouth here. I mean, they say stuff like there are many people who claim that artwork generated by AI is their own creation. We've actually ended up hiring such people only to find they weren't productive, which led to several problems. So on that way, they're kind of saying AI is bad. But then on the other hand here, they say they're going to be streamlining development processes. We're going to have to wait to see here as to what happens moving forward. But I would argue that AI is just going to be a part of everything. In terms of gaming, at least most things. I think there will still be some companies out there and some indie games that refuse to use AI. But realistically, bigger companies producing AAA games will probably turn to AI because they can do things quicker and cheaper and with less people, which is also cheaper. And I think that'll generate more revenue and more revenue for their shareholders, which is kind of what all companies are going for. So let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. I'm going to guess that this is going to be a pretty hot topic overall. But moving on from that and arguably shifting to much more positive news, next up we're talking about Linux and Linux kernels. And this is right up on kernel.org here, and I think this is really, really good news. Linux kernel 6.18 appears to be getting the LTS treatment. Right here, they're saying its projected end of life is December 2027. So for those of you on Linux who like long-term support, Linux kernel 6.18 might fit that bill. I'm really excited about this, and I fully expect to see a whole lot of distros start using this kernel as time goes on. And speaking about arguably great news, next up here we're talking about a really interesting article up on Gaming on Linux. I love this website. Anyways, here it's titled Unreal Tournament 2004 is getting revived by old Unreal with approval from Epic Games. So here's the announcement. With Epic's blessing and with the help of some new team members, we are bringing Unreal Tournament 2004 back. This means that we are going to publish an installer that downloads the original disk image for UT 2004, installs the game, and applies patches to it. This is absolutely huge. I mean, let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below, but they even say it again here. Yes, you read that right. Unreal Tournament 2004 will soon be available to download once again, free of charge. But wait, there's more, because of course there is. They say here, we now natively support modern Linux and macOS systems with 64-bit Intel and ARM Apple CPUs. You can now play the game or run a server on a Raspberry Pi 4 or 5, a bit with a lower frame rate than on a PC. This is absolutely massive news in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below, and let me know your thoughts about Silk's comments here. If there's a textbook example of how one can hate and love a video game company at the same time, then it's Epic Games. Today is even numbered, so we love them. Tomorrow Sweeney will speak and we will hate them. Let me know your thoughts about that. And speaking about loving or hating, next up here we're talking about Samsung and their upcoming TriFold phone. There's a really interesting video up on YouTube unboxing this phone here titled Unboxing Galaxy Z TriFold Samsung. And you guessed it, it's an unboxing and an early look at this phone. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not the biggest fan of folding phones, but at the same time, I'm loving the advancements in this technology space. I'm even looking at it from a video editing perspective and thinking that this might be really good on the road when I'm editing videos, having that real nice tablet-like screen. That might come in handy here, and I can absolutely see why there'd be interest in this. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below and whether or not you're interested in the TriFold phone. I mean, even from an emulation perspective, I think this could be really, really good. There's a lot of opportunity here, I will say that. And speaking about innovative stuff, next up we're talking about game fan translations. And if you're familiar with Splatterworld, you might be excited to know that there's a Splatterworld English translation. This is a game for the NES. If you're not familiar with Splatterworld, I really don't blame you. So Splatterworld on the NES was never officially released. It was recently dumped online and now has been translated. If you wanted to see the game in action and get a whole bunch more details about the game, Video Game Esoterica has you covered with a brand new video titled Splatterworld Has Been Translated, a Lost NES Game. And this video is just over 10 minutes long and chock full of information. And speaking about arguably great news, last up here we're talking about Hi-Fi Rush and Denuvo. And this is a tweet right from Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush Denuvo termination. While a form of copy protection will remain in the game, Denuvo will be removed. PC players must install this update. I don't think anyone's going to complain about that. To continue playing after 7 o'clock PST on January 15th, 2026. The unpatched version of the game will no longer run on PC beyond the date. Oh darn. Hi-Fi Rush was released on Steam back in January 2023. It's almost been out for 2 years now, and now it finally has Denuvo being taken off of it. It's got an overwhelmingly positive review score up on Steam, and this is definitely a game I think is worth checking out. It's not even that expensive. It's less than $40 Canadian, so probably around 35-ish or maybe even less USD. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We did end it on a really good note. Let me know your thoughts about anything we talked about in the comments below. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.